Mainstream media spent the last 7 days screaming about geopolitics, and you fell for it. While you were distracted by the headlines surrounding Operation Epic Fury, while you were watching the US and Israel escalate military operations against Iran, the institutions quietly executed one of the fastest wealth transfers of the decade. They want you looking at the Middle East, because if you are focused on the geopolitical chessboard, you aren't looking at your own wallet. Let's strip away the noise and look at the math. This was not just a military conflict, it was an engineered oil shock. In a matter of days, Brent crude surged nearly 30%. We saw oil briefly smash past $100 a barrel, hitting peaks near $120. Tanker traffic in the Strait of Hormuz was disrupted, and almost instantly, U.S. gas prices spiked 41 cents per gallon. Do you think the institutions are panicking? They are feasting. Energy giants and defense contractors are logging record windfalls while you bleed at the pump. The stock market sold off sharply. The S&P 500 dropped 2% for its worst week since October, and the VIX fear gauge spiked 28% to 26.4. International markets were slaughtered. The MSCI EAFE index dropped 6.7%, and emerging markets collapsed nearly 7%. Retail investors panicked and sold at the bottom. But the funds, they bought the dip, perfectly timing the market rebound when the political theater signaled a de-escalation. They traded your fear for their profit. The Atlanta Fed's GDP now forecast for first quarter growth just plummeted to 2.1%. The economic engine is stalling, but the extraction machinery is running at maximum capacity. And while the media ran endless segments on the potential $166 billion refund from the Supreme Court tariff ruling, the executive branch quietly kept the new duties alive through alternative legal loopholes. They gave you the illusion of a refund, while ensuring the embedded consumer costs remain permanently in the system. But the oil shock and the tariff theater are just the smokescreens. The real catastrophe was buried under the war coverage. While everyone was watching the Strait of Hormuz, the U.S. labor market officially collapsed. The February jobs report was a bloodbath. Non-farm payrolls didn't just miss expectations, they imploded. The economy lost 92,000 jobs. Let that sink in. They told you to expect 50,000 new jobs, and instead, nearly 100,000 vanished. They quietly revised the prior months downward, dragging the 3-month average to a pathetic 6,000 jobs. Unemployment has now ticked up to 4.4%. This is the exact definition of stagflation. War-driven inflation colliding with a dying labor market. Everything you need to survive is suddenly 30% more expensive, right at the exact moment your income security is being vaporized. This is not an accident. This is the exact environment where the elite consolidate and the retail portfolio gets torched. And if you think your money is safe in private markets, look closer. The private credit cracks are widening into canyons. PIMCO, one of the largest asset managers on Earth, just publicly warned of a crisis of bad underwriting. We are looking at a $2 trillion private credit reckoning. JP Morgan is already marking down portfolios and restricting new lending. Why does this matter to you? Because this is the quiet sweep. When the bubble pops, distressed assets get scooped up cheap by the exact same mega funds that fueled the crisis in the first place. They inflate the bubble, wait for the collapse, wipe out the retail participants, and buy the underlying assets for pennies on the dollar. This entire week was a masterclass in misdirection. The Iran conflict isn't a crisis for everyone. It is a highly profitable mechanism for anyone positioned in energy, defense, or private equity. They are squeezing you from the top down. And by Friday, you are going to see exactly how they are squeezing you from the bottom up. If you think the macroeconomy is rigged, wait until you see what private equity is doing to your local neighborhood. The same funds driving the credit crisis are currently buying up your local auto mechanics and plumbers and jacking up the prices. We are dropping the full documentary on the Main Street roll-up this Friday. Hit subscribe, turn on the notifications, and stop letting the media distract you from the math.